Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching World Today. Before we begin, here's a brief look at today's top stories. The Bangladesh National Party BNP won a landmark parliamentary election on Friday, winning 185 of 300 seats, easily crossing the halfway mark for a simple majority, and it's expected to restore political stability. The BNP is led by top prime ministerial contender Tariq Rahman, the 60-year-old son of former Prime Minister Khalida Zia and former President Zair Rahman. US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that his administration was scrapping green vehicle emission standards after formally repealing the legal basis for US climate rules. Trump announced he was terminating all additional green emission standards imposed unnecessarily on vehicle models and engines between 2012 and 2027 and beyond. South Korea's spy agency believes that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is preparing to designate his daughter Kim Joo-ae as his successor. Kim Joo-ae's presence continues to be highlighted at events such as the recent Armed Forces Day ceremony and her visit to the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, and there are even signs that she is expressing opinions on some internal policies. Nearly 90% of school buildings across the Gaza Strip have been damaged or destroyed during Israel's two-year war on the enclave. The UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, says schools that remain standing have largely been converted into shelters, leaving children to receive education in temporary learning spaces or through digital platforms. Moscow's aviation authorities said Russia is preparing to evacuate its citizens who are visiting Cuba after a U.S.-imposed oil blockade on the island nation has choked off supplies of jet fuel. Moscow also advised travelers to avoid visiting Cuba and tour operators to halt sales. Currently, Russia will operate only return flights from Cuba as evacuation of Russian citizens visiting the Caribbean island gets underway. Cyclone Gazani has left 36 people dead, 6 missing, and about 300,000 affected in Toa Masina, Madagascar. The storm, with winds reaching 250 kilometers per hour, also destroyed 75% of the city and has left 374 people injured. Gazani has since moved southwards towards Mozambique's coast as rescue and cleanup operations continue in the country. Over 40 families from the US and UK protested at Snapchat's Santa Monica headquarters to demand safety reforms following their children's deaths. Demonstrators blocked traffic to paint a street memorial with the names of 100 children, many of whom died from fentanyl poisoning, allegedly facilitated by the app. Deutsche Lufthansa cancelled nearly 800 flights on Thursday due to strikes by pilots and cabin crew over pensions, job security and labour agreements. The strike disrupted travel during the Munich Security Conference and Berlinale Festival, affecting about 100,000 passengers and caused approximately £27 million in revenue losses. Thomas Tuchel signed a new deal to remain England head coach through the end of Euro 2028. Tuchel and his primary backroom staff also agreed to lead England to victory at the 2026 World Cup in North America. Tuchel's track record in World Cup has been stellar, with England winning all 8 qualifiers and will face Croatia, Ghana and Panama in their World Cup group this June. Germany put in a sensational performance to win the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026 luge team relay at the Cortina Sliding Center on Thursday. The German team, anchored by women's doubles pair Dejana Eidberger and Magdalena Maschina, set a new record of 3 minutes 41.672 seconds, finishing more than half a second ahead for Austria and Italy. And that's a quick snapshot of today's biggest news. Up next, the complete World Today Bulletin. Stay tuned.
Dunia digital penuh dengan kandungan ganas, eksploitasi kanak-kanak dan buli cyber berleluasa di luar kawalan. Akta Keselamatan dalam Talian 2025 atau AMSA dikuatkuasa untuk melindungi rakyat. Pengguna boleh bertindak atas kandungan yang berisiko. Setiap laporan yang dibuat, platform digital wajib bertindak pantas terhadap penyalahgunaan digital. Dengan AMSA, internet kini lebih selamat untuk kanak-kanak dan keluarga kita.
Bangladesh's opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party has secured a landmark parliamentary victory, winning 185 of 300 seats as vote counting concluded early Friday. The result gives the party a clear majority in the 300-member Jatiya Sangsad, or House of the Nation, and is seen as a potential step towards restoring political stability in the country. Its main rival, Jamaat-e-Islami, conceded defeat after taking just 56 seats. Prime Ministerial contender Tariq Rahman is seen leaving his office in a car, surrounded by media and supporters, shortly after his party's win was confirmed.
I come here to celebrate this occasion. It's a great victory. I am the great fan of Mr. Tariq Zia. So I come here to see him here after this win.
Basically, I mean, it's a fascinating moment for us because after 17 years, we got the opportunity to vote, and we could vote for the candidates of the party which we love.
Of course, he's the greatest leader we could ever ask for, and I don't know. I really hope he is the change that we were looking for after whatever happened in July.
Votes were cast on Thursday, and tens of millions of Bangladeshis turned up for what was the first election since the 2024 Gen Z-driven uprising that toppled long-time Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Meanwhile, local media reported 3 people sustained minor injuries after a crude bomb exploded at a polling centre in Bangladesh's Golpanganj district, about 100 kilometres southwest of the capital, Dhaka, on Thursday morning due to the national election. The authorities said that the blast appeared to have been intended to create panic, and authorities are working to identify those responsible. However, the situation was quickly brought under control. In a separate incident, a Bangladesh Nationalist Party leader, Mohibuzzaman Kochi, died after allegedly being pushed and falling at another polling centre while attempting to cast his vote. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors pronounced him dead. Police said an investigation has been launched. U.S. President Donald Trump has revoked a landmark scientific finding that formed the legal basis for federal climate regulations. Now, the move scraps greenhouse gas standards for vehicles and could put wider rules on power plants and methane emissions at risk, with legal challenges expected.
Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers. Prices went up incredibly for a worse product. This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically.
Critics, including Democrats and environmental groups, warn the move undermines efforts to tackle climate change and protect public health. The 2009 finding has classified greenhouse gases as a threat, forming the backbone of U.S. climate regulation for more than a decade. Russia will fly its tourists out of Cuba in the coming days before suspending flights due to a severe jet fuel shortage in the island. Aviation authorities say Russian carriers will operate outbound-only services to bring citizens home, while Moscow has advised travelers to avoid visiting Cuba and tour operators to halt sales. Cuba warned airlines it cannot supply jet fuel at several airports, as an energy crunch linked to tightened U.S. restrictions on oil supplies disrupts aviation and tourism. Now, the shortage has forced multiple airlines to cancel or adjust services, leaving thousands of visitors affected while governments arrange repatriation flights.
9 days. I don't see problem to transfer to Russia. A lot of news talk about not gas problem transfer to home.
I don't know really. It's not last flight because we have a lot of people here in Russia. I would like to tell more thanks of Cuban people. It's real people with strong and with good relation with Russia.
Meanwhile, 2 Mexican Navy ships carrying more than 800 tons of humanitarian aid have arrived in Cuba as the island faces a worsening energy crisis. The vessels delivered food and basic goods, including milk, rice, beans, meat products, and hygiene items. The shipment comes after Washington threatened tariffs on countries supplying fuel to Cuba, prompting Mexico to halt crude exports while still offering humanitarian support. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has criticized the humanitarian impact of the restrictions, while more aid is expected as other countries signal support for Cuba's population. North Korea's Kim sets stage for daughter as his successor.
Jom meriahkan sambutan Hari Radio Sedunia pada 12 hingga 14 Februari bermula 9 pagi hingga 10 malam bertempat di Dataran Warisan Taiping. Pelbagai aktiviti menarik menanti seperti Forum Perdana Ehwal Islam, siaran langsung Selamat Pagi Malaysia, konsert Hari Radio Sedunia, DJ Corner, aktiviti bersama DJ, ada juga pameran, gerai dan semestinya pelbagai makanan. Dan ada cabutan bertuah menanti anda. Jangan lupa tahu, jumpa di sana.
Welcome back. South Korean lawmakers said on Thursday that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un appears to be taking steps to consolidate his daughter's position as a successor. And there are signs that she is providing input on policy matters. South Korea's National Intelligence Agency, NIS, will be closely watching whether the daughter, believed to be named Kim Joo-ae, attends an upcoming meeting of the ruling Workers' Party and how she is presented, including whether she takes on any official title.
존재감이 더욱더 국내적으로 부각이 되고 있는 점, 그리고 현장 시찰을 할 때 일부 시책에 대해서 직접적인 의견을 내는 상황 등 이런 걸 종합을 해봤을 때 후계자 수업이라는 단어에서 오늘은 후계 내정 단계라는 표현이 가미된 점이 좀 특이한 점이 아닌가 그렇게 평가할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Joo-ae, who is believed to be in her early teens, has been increasingly prominently featured in North Korea's state media, accompanying her father on field guidance, including inspections of weapons projects, amid speculation by analysts that she is being groomed as the country's fourth-generation leader. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, said on Thursday that nearly 90% of school buildings across the Gaza Strip have been damaged or destroyed during Israel's 2-year war on the enclave. The agency added that schools that remain standing have largely been converted into shelters, leaving children to receive education in temporary learning spaces or through digital platforms. It stressed that its teams continue to provide learning support despite the widespread devastation. Israel's war on Gaza, which began on the 8th of October 2023 and lasted 2 years, has killed more than 72,000 Palestinians and wounded over 171,000 others, most of them women and children, and destroyed about 90% of Gaza's civilian infrastructure. A group of Buddhist monks has completed its Walk for Peace in Annapolis, Maryland, after more than 3 months crossing the United States to promote compassion and mindfulness. The monks began their journey in Texas, often walking barefoot through winter conditions to raise awareness of peace and kindness. Speaking at the final stop, the monks said the support they received showed that they were not alone in spreading the message.
I just simply walk slowly with tears. It is overwhelmed with love and support from all people. And that I told myself that we are not alone. We have so much people walking with us on this path together for the better. So I'm honored, I'm grateful that I choose this walk for peace. Thank you so much. In every second.
Supporters echoed the sentiment, saying that the journey highlighted the idea that lasting peace begins within each individual.
This one event, will it change and make everything great? No. But if it helps even one person to change, then it will have a ripple effect.
We're all here for the same thing. We feel in our hearts it's important that we do show love and peace to one another. And what's going on in the world and here in the United States, we really do need to remember that, because that's what's most important.
Parents gathered outside Snapchat's headquarters in California, accusing social media platforms of contributing to their children's deaths as a major U.S. trial against tech companies gets underway. The case centers on a 20-year-old woman suing Meta and Google, alleging that their platform's addictive design causes harm, claims both companies deny. Lawyers for the plaintiff argue internal documents show apps were built to hook young users, while Meta's defense points to other personal factors in her background. A ruling against the companies could open the door to thousands of similar lawsuits. Meanwhile, grieving parents at the protest urged stronger safeguards, highlighting growing global concern over children's safety online.
Today we're at Evan Spiegel's CEO, his office, and we're here to call him out. My son, Zachary, passed away of a drug deal on Snapchat. He took a quarter of a pill, just a quarter of a pill. He kissed me goodnight in the morning. I found him, and he was gone.
Matthew specifically passed from the choking challenge or the blackout challenge, but the detective was the one that told us about the blackout challenge on the social media apps, the dangerous algorithms.
I just hope when your employees walk in this office that they will take a moment to look at the names and think about the products that they are creating and make changes and speak up. And I hope you, as the CEO of your company, will make some changes, because we can't keep losing our children.
Lufthansa faced a significant disruption on Thursday as a 24-hour strike called by the German pilots' union Vereinigung Cockpit, or VC, over a pension dispute grounded flights at its core airline and freight unit Lufthansa Cargo, impacting tens of thousands of passengers. Negotiations with the airline have resumed but remain intermittent and inconclusive.
At the moment, we need an offer from Lufthansa. There is no offer, so their offer is at 0, and that's what we expect from Lufthansa. We expect them to give VC an offer, and that's what we expect.
Departure boards at Frankfurt and Munich, Lufthansa's primary German hubs, showed numerous cancellations on Thursday, including several long-haul services.
Ja, ich glaube, ich fliege Condor, also bin jetzt nicht betroffen, aber wir hätten tatsächlich überlegt, Lufthansa zu buchen. Muss man dann natürlich das nächste Mal überlegen, ob man dann halt doch lieber eine andere Airline bucht oder so.
Lufthansa stated that it was working to rebook affected customers on flights operated by its other carriers or partner airlines. The walkout, organised by Pilots Union VC and Flight Attendants Union UFO, comes as the Berlinale Film Festival starts in the German capital on Thursday, and politicians and military officials gather for the Munich Security Conference, which will commence later today. Madagascar's Disaster Management Office said on Thursday Cyclone Gazani has left 36 people dead, 6 missing, and about 300,000 affected in the country. Now, the storm, with winds reaching 250 kilometers per hour, has also left 374 people injured. Madagascar's new leader, Colonel Michael Randrianirina, who has appealed for international support, said that the cyclone destroyed about 75% of the city, home to around 400,000 residents and surrounding areas. Earlier, authorities said they were considering declaring a nationwide state of emergency due to the extensive damage and the expected difficulties in recovering from a second cyclone within 2 weeks. Gazani has since moved southwards towards Mozambique's coast as rescue and cleanup operations continue in Toamasina. This was the second cyclone to hit Madagascar this year, 10 days after tropical cyclone Setia killed 14 and displaced over 31,000 people. Meanwhile, powerful winds from Storm Nils have swept across Spain's northeastern region of Catalonia, injuring dozens and disrupting transport. Gusts exceeding 100 kilometers an hour toppled trees and damaged infrastructure, forcing school closures and widespread travel restrictions, while at least 86 people required medical attention. More than 100 flights were cancelled at Barcelona's El Prat airport, with rail and road services also affected.
No, pues íbamos a Roma y han retrasado el vuelo indefinidamente, de hecho lo siguen retrasando y no nos dan respuesta y aquí estamos.
Teníamos el vuelo a las 7 de la mañana y anoche recibimos un mensaje en el correo diciendo que podía ser que el vuelo se viera afectado, que en el momento del mensaje estaba el vuelo confirmado y al rato, 20 minutos o así, nos mandaron otro mensaje como que el vuelo estaba cancelado y que podíamos cambiar la hora a las 6 de la tarde.
Authorities urged residents to limit movement as the storm spread into Portugal and France, where flooding, power cuts and at least one fatality were reported. Coming up in sports, Sean Dyche out as Nottingham Forest sack third coach this season. Stay tuned.
Perlawanan bola sepak Piala Malaysia. Aksi-aksi terbaik terus dipamerkan. Kali ini, The City Boys bakal menunjukkan belang berdepan jago dari Pantai Timur, skuad Sang Penyu. Ahad, 15 Februari, Kuala Lumpur City FC bertemu Terengganu FC. 4:15 petang di saluran OK dan Sukan RTM. Juga penerimaan langsung di RTM Klik.
And with that, we've reached the end of our bulletin today. Do join us again tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 p.m. on TV2 and saluran Berita RTM. Alternatively, you can stream us live on RTM Click's website and mobile app. Thank you for watching. I'm Mohana Priya. Salam Malaysia Madani.